Astrotometry log. It is February the 15th, 2011. It's approximately 23:53 UTC at the time of this recording. This is an analysis of a recent solar flare and coronal mass ejection that was ejected from region 11158. That's this really active region right here. And about 2 UTC, you can see this huge flash in the 193 angstrom image sequence here from the Solar Dynamics Observatory. And this was more or less facing the Earth when this explosion occurred. And it is expected that a large coronal mass ejection will be encountering the Earth and sparking off a atmospheric disturbance in the southern hemisphere that will most likely turn into a category 4 or 5 cyclone. Geostationary satellites picked up this event in the X class, which is a fairly significant flare. But had this occurred across the limb, had it occurred over here when this wasn't necessarily facing the Earth, it wouldn't have been measured as that intensity. And so part of the reason this was measured as such an intense event is because it was facing the Earth when it happened, which is a concern for energy that was released at a lower frequency that will be arriving over the next few weeks. This coronal mass ejection you see here in the C2 LASCO instrument will be stirring up the water quite a bit. When we see this halo, that means it's either coming towards the Earth or moving away. And since we know that the solar flare accompanying this was indeed facing the Earth, it's almost a certainty that this is going to be influencing the Earth in a fairly significant way in the coming days. Now, the U.S. Navy Research Laboratory is tracking 2 disturbances in the southern hemisphere right now, and there is another disturbance that has been numbered 15 right here, and this is very possibly the disturbance. And so I'm going to be watching this and the other disturbance closely. And there was a solar wind stream that picked up very, very suddenly on about 1600 on the 14th. And I'm looking for this solar wind stream to increase as this disturbance comes in. Now, this is not expected to create an earthquake, but there is a coronal hole that could be associated with an earthquake in the northern hemisphere near about 40 degrees north. But these events, these higher energy events, are thought in astrotometry to break up these solar wind streams from the coronal holes. And so this is actually a very positive thing for the earthquake, since there wasn't one that was associated with the spike itself, since the warm finger from the X-ray flare activity did not spark an earthquake. It's considered to be very auspicious in that it may very well break up the influence from this coronal hole. So the theory is that when there is a significant solar flare, it pushes through the solar wind stream and breaks up the influence so that there isn't an associated shift on the Earth in the form of a seismic event. And if you consider it electromagnetically, there is an electromagnetic wave that is headed towards the Earth. If you consider these electromagnetic lines, that is more or less parallel with the Earth's field. And so there's a sort of electromagnetic torque that is headed for the Earth from this coronal mass ejection that is not a wind stream as much as it is a disturbance in the field itself. And so if it were possible to navigate to the place where this was occurring, there could be even a gravitational anomaly associated with it. So there could be something like a volcanic eruption that will be associated with the arrival of this event, in addition to the torque on the water in the form of a cyclonic storm. And so if you consider the Earth's magnetic field and you think about how that magnetic field is responsible for carrying it through time in astrotometry, this is the symptom of the Earth's movement through time in astrotometry. The field is created by another movement that happens on another level that carries the Earth through time, the sun being the time axis. So this torque represents a sort of fold in the time axis that takes only a certain amount of time to happen. And so there's a very much temporary disturbance in the translation, in the hypertime translation, that manifests in the form of the storm and the earthquake. I'm not really expecting a significant effect on the electromagnetic infrastructure. I don't think there's going to be widespread power outages, which are a possibility from these events. I don't think that there are going to be significant radio disturbances from this. This is not the sort of flare that we haven't seen before. This is something that we've seen before. We've had flares up here in the X22 class before that have caused power disturbances. But I'm not looking for any significant damage other than from the storm and potentially volcano. So that's the analysis of this event. Thanks for watching.